Yes, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome back to Retro Spectrum. My chance to look at the retro gaming stream and the whole spectrum of games that are there. Yes, it's a bad pun on the ZX Spectrum. Right. We're going to go back to that historic document that was in the box. Next time at my parents', I'm going to go find it because I'm pretty sure I've still got a copy of it. And that is the games catalogue that came in the retail packaging of the first Spectrums in 1982 and 1983. And on the page that dealt with games, the first game, I'm pretty sure, was Space Raiders. And you've got to say, look at that cover. That looks like the best game in the world, doesn't it? Ranks of UFOs ready to rain death down on your towers. And then you have the loading screen, but it was 1982. The 16K Spectrum was launched. Very few 48Ks were around. We didn't know any better. That was cutting edge. But good brine. Psion Software's in there. Their little logo of Saturn. Leave your tape running just in case because it's new. Nobody knows what's going on. And Space Raiders. There we go. Which, of course, is, as you can tell just about from the cover with the UFO and the lined up different coloured aliens, Psion's version of Space Invaders. Right. So we're going to load that up now. But it goes straight into the game. Okay. And this is before joysticks, so our trusty PlayStation Kempston cannot go anywhere. We just get to do Space Raiders. Right then, where are we? Open. Scroll down. Space Raiders. Right, we're on the way. We're on the way. Z, X, and space. Obviously the other way around. I'm pressing X just now. Z goes the other way. Da, da, da. Memo to whoever is building land-based space defense laser platforms: don't build them wide, build them tall and thin, because it's much easier to avoid getting hit when you don't have a massive base. It's a practical thing. I mean, I understand why it's there in terms of gameplay and stuff, but wow, that was close. No, and that one wasn't. There we go. So let's just point out a couple of things here. First of all, this is done in 16K. Spectrum in those days, of course, 16K, 129.99 sterling, and 179.99 if you wanted to add another 32K and take that up to the 48K version. Of course, the geeks out there will know that 16K RAM and 16K ROM, and 16K ROM and 48K RAM, so it's actually 64 and 32, a trick that Commodore would pull off to try and show that they were bigger, which they weren't. Being 16K, there's not a lot. It's a single screen. It's very early in the life of the Spectrum, so I suspect there's this is our first pass, and we're dead. Have to wait for the sounds to finish before we can hit fire to play, and I will keep whittling on again as we play through. Well, yes, 16K also means that it was one of the few titles, by few I mean 11, that made it onto the Interface 2 ROM cartridges, which I always looked at when I was young and thought, that turns the Spectrum into an Atari 2600. Wow! Not quite. And there wasn't any second wave of games in there. I think Parker's Return of the Jedi was one of the ones that could have popped up but never did. And so, in a sense, done to a remit. Psion needed a whole bundle of games for 16K. They'd already helped out Sinclair with lots of coding for the ZX80 and ZX81, and also they coded the Horizons tape that was in the box. So, Psion, well placed to take advantage of the Spectrum. Gaming wise, of course, this would be one of the earliest games, and I suspect for a lot of people it was one of the first games they played on the Spectrum. For me, it was one of the first games that I romanced after because I could see it in the catalogue. But it's never actually one that I got in my first life following the Spectrum, i.e. before I went to university. Coming back to it now, it's like coming back to the original arcade Space Invaders. It's got everything that the arcade version has. It's got that nifty speedy up thing, which of course is just because it takes less time to draw the aliens when there's only 3 of them compared to when there's 40 of them. So this is actually just a byproduct of the machine code time. But hey, there you go. It's got the bases at the bottom, and you get an extra life at 1,000. And you have that sneaky trick that you can also fire through your defensive shield and sort of lurk here at the bottom. Taking advantage of the fact that in this version of the game, a bullet will destroy another bullet. So as long as you don't have a side path being buried through to you, you can get away with just sitting here. We're probably going to have to sacrifice that now. And get shot by the bullet. So there we are. Space Raiders. Cunningly named, so it looks nothing at all like Space Invaders. Really? Really? How many people did that fool? When did the gaming industry decide that you just needed to have a very bad pun on the name for you to be allowed to just get the game? The delights of early 1980s IP law not quite catching up with the legal situation of the 8-bit home computer scene. And let me see. Okay. All of a sudden I've done that whole thing of starting to focus again. Lucky shot on the UFO. Nope. Of course, cunningly, we don't have a border visible on the screen except in special effects. So, do you do the whole thing with the you're gonna do the whole thing where the defense box disappear as well? Yeah. This could be review over. And that, as they say, is review over. Right, well, what do we want to say about that one? All we want to say is that it's a whole bundle of fun. That's what it is. It is Space Invaders in 16K. So let's knock it for that. It's one of the first releases of the platform. It shows off the colours that you didn't have in the likes of the ZX80 and the ZX81. It's got your sound effects. If you put this next to the arcade machine of Space Invaders, and you get really, really good echoes of the machine, irrespective of the IP and the legal stuff. You've got a computer, it played Space Invaders. That is what 8-year-old me would have picked up from this at the time. It went onto the ROM cartridge. You know, you could do a lot with 16K. Let's remember, Jetpack's in 16K as well. And with the best in the world, this is not Jetpack. So it's not at the top tier of potential gaming. But if you bought this as one of your first games for the Spectrum, if you popped this in on Christmas 1982 to play that, I think you would be incredibly happy with this. As it is now, it's Space Invaders. Space Invaders has not aged well. People keep trying to jazz it up. It's still popular in pop culture, but as a game, it's just not as twitchy, as in controls, not as in people who make games straight. It's quite predictable. Given the choice between this and Jetpack, I would go for Jetpack. We must review Jetpack at some point. But as an example of one of the earliest games with very little feedback from consumers and what they wanted from the Spectrum, presumably on a tight production time scale as well to make the launch date of the machine, Space Raiders has a place in my heart. It has a place in Spectrum history, and as always on this channel, it is recommended.